Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Motion in Motion. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at local notifications. So not push notifications where it comes down from a server, but time-based notifications that your application can set up on its own. So you are able to use these without getting approval from the user, but please do not abuse this. It's a very bad experience if you do what looks like push notifications by doing some background fetching or something, and the user can't turn it off if they want to. I'm sure if you were using an application and it did that to you, you wouldn't appreciate it. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually fix a bug that was in the previous version. And that's mainly just for fixing when you complete a task, it doesn't actually send it to the server. So let's open up Vim, and we'll go to App Managers, Remote Manager, and then we'll find Duet. So the problem was in the mappings. And we just need to add completed. Whoops. Typing's very off today. Completed. And for the request mapping. And then again for the normal response mapping. We can also remove that duplication that seems to have been sitting there for a few episodes. So that's just to make sure completed's working, just a bit of housekeeping. The first real thing we're going to do is actually create a new schema that will store our notification for us. So let's open up schema 3, and we'll just copy that. And then we'll do schemas 0004, add notification to tasks. 0004, add notification to tasks. Whoops. So we can use this transformable type, and we'll just call it notification. And the transformable type will basically take anything that's NS coding compliant, so go look at the NS coding episode, and store it as an NS data type in the core data store. So this is really handy for the notifications because they're actually NS coding compliant. So we can actually just store them later for reference, so that way we can cancel them if we need to. So after this, we of course need to actually create our notifications. So we'll do this in the model. So we'll open up our task model, and we can see that it's empty at the moment, but we're going to create a method called update alert. And first of all, we need to cancel any existing notifications. So we'll do UI application shared application. And we're actually going to be doing a few things on this, so I'm going to tap it. And we're going to do app.cancel local notification and pass in self.notification if one exists. So the next thing we need to actually do is create that notification and assign it to be our notification attribute. So self.notification equals UI local notification. So this is our class. A little bit more misspelling here. So this is the class that we use, and so we're just going to create a new one, and because we're going to be setting a bunch of stuff on it, we'll just tap this as well. So we got to create one of those classes, and the first thing we need to actually set is when is this going to fire. So we can set our fire date to equal the duat time that we've set. So this will fire off that notification when our task is due. Next is the time zone. So we need to tell it what time zone we're going to be setting this to, so we can use ns time zone dot default time zone. Then we have the alert body, which is just the text that you want to display. We want self.name is due. If the user is going to show these as alert views instead of the little bit that comes down from the bottom, we want to have what button will appear. So we can to do that, we can do alert action, and we'll do view tasks. This isn't going to go to the individual task that's due. It's just going to show the list. But if you wanted to open up a particular screen, you can just store in user info the ID or something of whatever you want to open up to, but we're not going to be doing that. And we also need the sound that's going to play. So we'll do sound name equals UI local notification default sound name. So this is just going to do that default sound that you hear on a lot of applications. And the last setting is the application icon badge number. So this is going to set our badge to be 1. The problem here is that we can't actually add to the application icon badge number. We can only say make it 1. If you wanted to do something really tricky, I'm sure you could try and get it to increment, but the basic idea is that we're only going to be able to show that there is at least one task due. So we have our notification created now, and what we have to do is now schedule that notification and let our application know that it needs to send this off. So we can do that by using schedule local notification on our application. Notification. It's very cold here at the moment, so my typing's a bit off. And we just want to pass in self.notification. Awesome. So after this, we need to actually call this update alert method whenever there's changes to the duat time. So we're going to do this in the add and update task commands. So we'll open up the app commands add task command. And after creating this task, we're just going to call update alert on it. And then same thing for the app commands update task command. So we'll just call update alert once again. And so for each time that duat time is set either in the add or update, it will delete the current notification if there is one, and then schedule the new notification. So we've got our notification all set up to actually and scheduled when it needs to be. But the next thing we need to do is actually be able to handle that notification. So there's one thing that we definitely want, which is we want to remove the application's badge when you launch the application and check the task. And if we're already in the notification, already in the application, we want to display an alert because that push notification, the local notification, isn't going to come down from the top of the screen. So in our app delegate, in our did finish launching with options method, we can simply do application dot application icon badge number, and we'll set this to be 0. So that will remove the badge. And then we need, then we need to set up a for when the application becomes the active application, so when it's completely in the foreground. So application did become active, application, and once again, we'll just do application icon badge number equals 0 to reset the application's badge. And the last one we need to do is actually when we receive the notification. So this will get called both when the application isn't active and when it is active. So we can do application did receive local notification. And in here, we want to actually only do any of the stuff in here when the application is active. So if the application state equals UI application state active, then in here we want to, once again, I'll just copy and paste this. We want to set the application badge icon to be 0 because it's going to have set it to 1. And then we want to display an alert. So we'll do UI alert view dot new tap, and we'll pass in that alert view. Use the wrong one there. And we'll show it afterwards. So we're going to have our title be the notification.alert body. I don't actually need that in this. And add button with title. Okay. And so let's actually give this a try. So we haven't got any tasks yet, so we'll just quickly create one, do the dishes, and that's going to be due at 11:09, so that way we can test it. And don't worry, I'm going to fast forward this. Oh, we seem to have an error. let's have a look at the schema and double check that that's in there. I did this in my testing as well, in my preparation, where I've gone and said completed instead of complete. But you can see we actually got our notification here while I was talking, which is kind of nice. So nothing actually shows up now. Oops. But you can see that it cleared the notification while I was doing that. So that was a very quick example, even though you might not have been paying attention. Just quickly rewind and watch that. Of when it was in the background, when it was inactive, it sent off the notification and it cleared it once we opened the application and it became active again. So let's run this again, and I can, with that done, I can actually show you it displaying straight away. So do the dishes, and we can do sort of a bit of a hack here where I'll set it to the current time, and that will make it display right now. So that's an example of what we managed to do when we received that local notification while we're active as well. So just to sort of show you what's happening where, when we received a notification, whether it was the application was not in the foreground or in the, whether the application was active or not, this method got called. So we just did a check to make sure that if it was active, we showed that UI alert view. You can see that working just then. And when the application is inactive and has become active again, so when it comes into the foreground completely and everything's launched properly, it will call this method. Now, there's a difference between application did become active and application did finish launching with options. If the application is already running, like it's just inactive, this method won't get called, and so when you try to clear out the application icon badge number, it will actually just leave it there because this application did finish launching, didn't actually get called. So we need to add this method as well. So this was kind of quick, and sorry for my bad typing. It's very cold and my hands are shaking. And I hope this sort of gave you a really good look into local notifications. You can use the user info attribute on UI local notification to store any extra data you need for when the application launches and you receive the notification. And it can be really handy to combine this with background fetching to let a user know when something has happened, but definitely do not abuse this. Like I said at the beginning, you'll just end up annoying your users. So hopefully I'll see you in the next episode, and that's all for now.